Herbert here with Angelbeat. I love doing these fireside chats. I'm excited to be featuring John from Trace3. Trace3 is a world-renowned integrator occupying that sweet spot in the systems integration world, having all the resources, skills, certifications as the world's largest integrators, able to support any project from any Fortune 20 organization, but at the same time, offering its clients a more personalized approach. John's given many outstanding presentations at Angelbeat seminars. What I wanted to have John speak about today is the world of FinOps. Now, I've seen this happen so many times at our Angelbeat seminars. There's this world of ops. There was DevOps, and now there's DevSecOps, and there's AI ops, and there's ML ops. Everything is an ops. But I think what John's going to share with you is the strategic importance of FinOps. And he is very well positioned to discuss this topic, which is basically how do you ensure the financial integrity of your technology platform so none of you get blindsided. And Trace3 occupies that unique position within the whole consulting realm of having all the technical expertise so your CIO and your line of business colleagues are happy. But in addition, they've got the financial insights around FinOps, as John will describe, so your CFO is happy. So John, maybe you could describe a little bit about your background, tell a little bit about Trace3, and more importantly, why your emphasis on FinOps is so important for so many of your clients.
So thanks for having me today, Ron. My name is John McGivern. I'm Senior Director of Cloud Optimization Services at Trace3.
Okay.
My formal background is actually on the buyer side. So I bought from value-added resellers for 31 years. And about 10 years ago, I started working with a company called Groupware Technology. Groupware Technology was a supplier to me. And over the years, I kept up with the relationship. And when I was transitioning 4 years ago, I actually went over to that side and I went over to the value-added reseller and services side. And when we did that, we built out a cloud optimization services that became part of the larger offering of hardware, software, and services in the VAR business. And at that time, we had a sales business of reselling the cloud, but we weren't offering services on top of it. We weren't doing much to the customer to help the customers. And that's really where the genesis came from.
Okay.
4 years ago, we started up a new group, and I became the leader of it. Okay. And in that group, we focus on helping our customers succeed financially in the cloud, which is difficult. And just before coming here, I was doing it myself. We were migrating from an on-prem solution to Azure at the time. And it doesn't really matter whether it's Azure, GCP, or AWS. The challenges are the same.
Yep.
And so that's where this world of what I would call cloud optimization came from. And then in the last couple of years, FinOps has become the buzzword, and that's where we're heading next.
And with your background, and I'd like you to share some customer stories. You've been the customer, you've been the end user, so you know the pain points that many of your current Trace3 customers are experiencing.
It's one of the reasons I took the job, because it was so near and dear to my heart, Ron. Yep. The previous experience that I had was that we were migrating to Azure. We expected to spend about $150,000 a month in Azure.
Okay.
We got about $15,000 into it, and we couldn't figure out truly what we were spending our money on. We didn't have the metrics. We didn't have the tagging. We didn't have the things that would tell us, hey, how much of the 150 are we actually to? And so that's where my interest in this area began, because I experienced it firsthand. It's really tough when you first move to the cloud, when you're used to capital expenditures in the data center and step level transactions. You go to the cloud and all of a sudden it's on demand. You can turn it up anytime you want. And it's this challenge that I think we all face, and I faced it myself. How do you know if you're spending it effectively? And that's kind of what got me into it.
Interesting. So I can imagine when you're going through these scenarios and you're deploying, you're saying, okay, let's go to multi-cloud. We'll use AWS for this. We'll use GCP for that. We'll use Azure in this role. when people are deploying all these solutions, it's hard to put guardrails on developers and end users. They get excited about the technology. And the last thing you really want to do is saying, oh, it's the 15th of the month. You've overspent your budget. You can't use the service for the next 2 weeks. I mean, that's an unacceptable business situation. And I think as maybe you can include some of the specific examples used in your Angelbeat presentations is how you work with clients to help them not only understand the right technology to give them that, but how they go about predicting what the demand will be. How do you make sure that they can anticipate changes? Maybe they want to spend, maybe they've got a huge promotion, maybe they're supporting the Super Bowl coming up and they want to make sure that they're budgeting appropriately for the right cloud costs that they're going to incur, given that their demand, maybe they're a consumer-facing application, it might be 5 times greater on Super Bowl Sunday than it is the next weekend. So those are some of the scenarios I would imagine are why Trace3 is well regarded by its clients.
Absolutely. Well, the first thing is the key to everything in the cloud. First thing is just to understand how you're spending your money. And then there's lots of mechanisms in the cloud for reducing your costs. There's commitments, there's right sizing, and those are all things we help our customers with every day. But where we really want to go in this new FinOps discipline, this new FinOps world, is helping our customers truly take advantage of the cloud. The cloud has so many cool things. It truly is revolutionary when you think of X as a service. There's a lot of things you don't have to develop anymore. You can just call an API and do facial recognition or massive data warehouse activities. Yep. There's something out there for everything with this X as a service idea, but it's a matter of how do you harness that and allow your DevOps teams to truly be innovative, to operate quickly without blowing the budget completely out of the water. And so that's where we're going with our customers, is helping them put the internal processes in place. And a lot of this has to do with communications, internal collaboration, making sure that the business teams, the finance teams, and the IT engineering teams are actually talking to each other. And
no more silos.
Yeah, well, if there's silos in this cloud world, it makes it even worse.
Got it.
Okay. But there's so much that you can do. The mantra of the FinOps world is the cloud should make you money, not cost you money. Okay. And if done right, it can, but you've got to have the collaboration. And with that, the phrase you will hear is pushing the cost decisions left. And what that really means is if you have a project plan, cost is usually the thing out on the other end. You may have a forecast at the beginning, but you don't design in cost all the time. Well, the idea with the cloud is thinking about cost. Which service is the best one to do, where we're only going to use it when we need it, where we're going to do things in the on-demand nature of cloud and not just leave, for instance, zombie resources and garbage laying out in the cloud, not leave things up that aren't running, going to things like serverless, where you're only calling for something when you need it. So these are all concepts that Trace3 is trying to help our customers implement, in addition to the cultural changes of getting rid of the silos that you mentioned.
And I bet, it's also tricky. And this is where I know personally that many of the Trace3 individuals have worked in the end user side. The whole culture of the developer world, they're not normally worried about cost. They just want to develop great programs. And I imagine a big chunk of your work is educating them. And oh, by the way, here are some of the trade-offs. Here's some of the design tools you might want to keep, you might want to be aware of, low, no-code development, things like this. And in a way, you can make the developer's life more effective because you can give them guidance without impeding them on where to develop, how to develop, and maybe paradoxically, by making them more financially astute, they can actually get more financial resources because of your efforts.
Absolutely, Ron. So what I would say is the holy grail of FinOps is unit economics. If you can truly get to measuring unit economics, you start to make decisions on, hey, if I spend this amount of money on such and such feature, I will generate this amount of revenue. And then if you can truly start to take how you're spending your IT money, and in the cloud you can do this, on the unit value of what you're doing, maybe for instance, it doesn't make sense to go tune legacy application X. It may make more sense to, rather than tuning that and worrying about what you're spending, is figuring out the new modern architectures, the newest services that can, spending maybe a little incremental money now allows you to either sunset that or reduce that footprint. So it's a matter of trying to have the business, the finance team, and the developers and engineers work together to say, hey, if we do this, here's what it saves, and here is the most effective way to do it in the cloud. Okay. And then you start to make business decisions, not just technical decisions.
So when people are listening to this talk, they're going, okay, well, this is great, John. So what are some of the things that Trace3 can do for its clients? You've got such a wealth of expertise around FinOps, around technology. I'm sure that when someone calls you, it's a little bit of been there, done that. While each situation is different, you can draw upon all of your experience in successfully deploying FinOps for other clients and do it here. Is that one of the key takeaways where people will call you? I know we're just in the start of the new year, but they can call you, you can review their current infrastructure, and even if they haven't worked with you on the technology, maybe they can bring you in, but you can advise them on the financial architecture, help the technology team put together the pro forma financial forecast and what it'll be like, and give them guidance to help the project managers then jointly approach the CIO and the CFO together and saying, here's the technology architecture, here's what we're doing, here's where we're going cloud native, here's where we're trying to keep some legacy apps, and here's our best case estimate of your financial costs for the near future while still giving people flexibility. I mean, if I was an end user, if you were in your back row and I heard this talk, I'd say, well, this is freaking great. This is always my biggest challenge. There's a reason why Amazon, Microsoft are worth trillions of dollars. It's not like they're making trillions of dollars or billions of dollars on these services. I mean, that's the main financial driver. Amazon doesn't make money based on my buying milk at Whole Foods. They make the vast majority of their profits based on AWS servicing external customers. Same thing with Microsoft. They make money obviously on Windows and Office, but their big financial driver is Azure. So when you acknowledge that, again, they've got a little bit of a disincentive not to lower cloud usage. I mean, they say that people don't want to overspend, but I mean, the reason why their stock prices and market cap is in the trillions is they want people to really use a lot of their cloud services. And, I think Trace3 is a great resource where it's combining the technical knowledge and the financial insights, and then the ability to prepare reports, analysis for organizations that are customized on those organizations' unique business model and technology, drawing upon your experience in doing similar things, which makes Trace3 such a valuable partner to us existing clients. And for those of you who don't work with Trace3, you should at least call up John and take a look at this, because it's great to look like a rock star from a technology standpoint in front of your CIO. There is no better way, and John, you could comment on this too, to be a rock star in your corporation than have the CFO say, you know something, Tom did such a freaking fantastic job in the technology and the financial planning. I want Tom to be involved in every project because I know that money that he wants me to approve as a CFO is money well spent. And working and adopting FinOps is a great way to gain credibility within IT, within your financial group that has to approve all these POs in the future.
So what I would say to what you just said there is we really attack it in three major ways. Okay. The first is peace of mind. When people engage with us, the first thing we ensure is that they never, ever, ever get surprised by an invoice. Let us not forget that in the cloud world, a developer may make a decision on the first of the month that doesn't show up in the invoice box till the 15th of the next month.
Got it.
If you roll up a 32x large of some type, some resource, that can be thousands and thousands of dollars before you even realize it. First thing we bring is peace of mind. We're watching even if you don't have the time to. The next thing is, it's our job to be, and I know this term is overused, but trusted advisor. It's our job to know what is available out there. When AWS savings plans came along, we had to go out. They were completely unannounced, and our customers immediately started pinging us. We had to learn it overnight, and we had to learn all the nuances, and there are significant nuances that a lot of people don't understand to this day. We had to get it out there. We have to know that stuff across the 3 major cloud providers, and we have to be able to support an Azure reservations, discussion, a CUDS discussion for GCP. That's our job. But where we're really headed is layering on top of that this idea of making the customer successful inside their own environment. So you were mentioning about FinOps and how do we help them? Well, just this past fall, we did a major configuration of an existing, we happen to use the Cloud Health FinOps product, but there are others out there. But we did a major configuration setup for their FinOps team. They do have an in-house FinOps team to give them the reporting and the alerting that they needed. And now we're rolling that in to and that happened to be a Fortune 100 transportation company. Now we're about to sign up with a Fortune 100 healthcare company, and we're going to be assessing their FinOps practice. So we're going to be walking in to say, how are they doing? Is their reporting agreeing with our reporting? And then determining, a level of maturity and making recommendations for becoming even more mature. So that's where we're headed. We were basically the peace of mind and the trusted advisor. Now we want to help them internally to succeed, even if we're not there for them.
Got it. What a great story. Well, John, I'm going to look forward to your presenting insights around this at future Angelbeat programs, currently virtual, hopefully in the near future, live and in person. I encourage everyone to go to trace3.com. You can also follow John on LinkedIn. You can just look him up that way. Great trusted resource. We've recommended Trace3 to many Angelbeat attendees. They've been very happy. And as John alluded to, even some of the world's largest companies who might use a whole variety of other consultants trust John and his team to deal with FinOps and other related issues. I want to wish everyone the best in the new year, and I'll look forward to seeing you either virtually or in person at a future Angelbeat event. Thanks so much, John.
Thanks for having us, Ron. Appreciate it.
Okay, great. Bye-bye now.